Have you ever felt like you just don't fit in? Like you're a square peg in a round hole, especially when everyone around you seems to have it all figured out? This is the story of Hippo, a young Viking living on the island of Berk, a place where being a burly, dragon-slaying warrior isn't just encouraged, it's expected. Hippo, however, is, well, not exactly Viking material. He's scrawny, awkward, and more of an inventor than a fighter. This makes him a constant disappointment, especially to his father, Stoick the Vast, who just happens to be the chief of the tribe and the fiercest warrior of them all. Stoick loves his son, but he just can't understand him. In a culture that values brute strength above all else, Hippo's gentle nature and quick mind are seen as weaknesses. He is caught between the immense pressure to conform and the quiet but persistent feeling that there must be another way to be strong. One day, during a chaotic dragon raid, Hippo sees his chance to finally prove himself. Armed with one of his unconventional inventions, he manages to do the impossible. He shoots down a night fury, the most mysterious and feared dragon of them all. While the other Vikings, including his father, are engaged in direct, brutal combat, showcasing their traditional valor, Hippo achieves his goal through ingenuity. He's desperate to earn his father's approval, to finally be seen as a true Viking. But when he finds the downed dragon tangled in the forest, he's faced with a choice that will change his life and the future of his entire village, forever. The weight of his society's expectations is crushing, but something inside him is starting to shift. Stoick is deeply worried about his son. He confides in his old friend Gabber, struggling to understand why Hippo is so different. He sees his son's inability to kill a dragon not just as a failure, but as a rejection of their entire way of life. The tension between them is thick with unspoken disappointment. Stoick wants a son who can follow in his footsteps, a successor who embodies the Viking ideals of bravery and strength. But Hippo just isn't built that way. This clash between a father's love and his cultural duties highlights a central theme of the story. What happens when your personal identity is at war with the expectations of the world around you? Can a father learn to accept a son who challenges everything he believes in? Standing over the trapped and terrified night fury, Hippo has his chance to become a hero. All he has to do is drive the knife home. But as he looks into the dragon's eyes, he doesn't see a mindless monster. He sees fear. He sees intelligence. He sees a reflection of his own trapped and misunderstood self. In that moment, something inside Hippo breaks, or rather it breaks free. He cuts the ropes, releasing the creature he was supposed to kill. This single act of compassion is a profound rebellion. It's Hippo choosing empathy over violence, understanding over prejudice. He turns his back on centuries of tradition and his own desperate desire for approval, and in doing so, takes his first real step toward discovering who he truly is, far away from the narrow-minded views of his tribe. This encounter begins to unravel everything Hippo has ever been taught. Dragons weren't just dumb, vicious beasts. They were complex, intelligent, and maybe, just maybe, not the enemy. As Hippo secretly revisits the Night Fury, he starts to learn about it, studying its behaviors, its fears, and its weaknesses. He realizes the Viking chronicles have it all wrong. This journey of discovery isn't just about dragons. It's a powerful commentary on how easily we can be indoctrinated by the stories we're told. Hippo's willingness to look beyond the surface, to challenge the us versus them mentality, represents the kind of critical thinking and empathy that can dismantle generations of hatred and misunderstanding. He is starting to see the world not as it's been described to him, but as it truly is. Hippo discovers the Night Fury, whom he names Chimulo, has a damaged tail fin and can't fly on his own. This is where Hippo's true talent shines. Using his skills as an inventor and a blacksmith, he crafts a prosthetic tail fin. This act isn't one of domination, but of partnership. He spends countless hours patiently trying to understand Chimulo, earning his trust through food, kindness, and respect. He doesn't try to break the dragon's spirit. He works with it. He learns to ride Chimulo, not as a master and a slave, but as a team soaring through the skies in a beautiful display of mutual trust. This friendship, built on care and understanding, stands in stark contrast to the violent, fearful attitudes of his fellow Vikings. It's a testament to the power of building bridges instead of walls. Back in the village, Hippo is forced to participate in dragon training. But now, armed with his secret knowledge from Chimulo, he's a natural. He uses his understanding of dragon behavior to non-violently subdue every dragon he faces, using tickles, distractions, and shiny objects instead of weapons. Suddenly, the village outcast becomes a local celebrity. He's hailed as a prodigy, the greatest dragon trainer Berk has ever seen. His father is beaming with pride, finally seeing the son he always wanted, or so he thinks, but this newfound fame is a double-edged sword. It attracts admiration, but also the suspicion and jealousy of his peers, particularly from the fiercely competitive Astrid. Hippo's success is a complete departure from Viking norms, and while it brings him acceptance, it's based on a secret that could destroy everything. The pressure is mounting. Hippo is on track to win the dragon training competition, which means he'll have the honor of killing a dragon in front of the entire village, an act he now finds horrifying. He's living a double life, torn between his duty to his tribe and his loyalty to his friend Chimulo. His secret is inevitably discovered by Astrid, who follows him to the cove. Her initial reaction is anger and betrayal, but Hippo manages to convince her to see the truth by taking her on a breathtaking flight on Chimulo. As they soar through the clouds, her fear melts away into awe and wonder. She becomes his first true ally, the first person to see the world through his eyes. The theme of acceptance expands as Hippo is no longer alone in his secret, but the stakes are higher than ever. During their flight, Hippo and Astrid stumble upon the dragon's nest and a terrifying discovery. They learn that the dragons who raid Berk aren't acting on their own. They're forced to steal food for a colossal, tyrannical queen dragon, a monstrous beast known as the Red Death, who devours any dragon that fails to bring a sufficient offering. Suddenly, the entire conflict is reframed. The dragons aren't the villains. They're victims, just like the Vikings. This revelation changes everything. Hippo realizes the fight isn't between Vikings and dragons, but between all of them and this one massive threat. His personal journey to understand a single dragon has uncovered a truth that could save both their species, forcing him to redefine his responsibility not just to his friend but to everyone. Now, Hippo must convince his people. He tries to show them a new way during his final exam in the arena. Instead of fighting the dragon, he throws down his weapons and attempts to connect with it, to show everyone that they aren't monsters. But his father, Stoick, erupts in anger, seeing this as the ultimate betrayal of their traditions. His shouting terrifies the dragon, which attacks Hippo in a panic. The moment of potential understanding shatters into chaos. Stoick's reaction isn't just about anger, it's about fear. Fear of the unknown, and fear for a son who is defying the very foundations of their society. Hippo is rejected, his new worldview cast aside, and the deep rift between his love for his father and his personal convictions is exposed for all to see. It's in this moment of apparent failure that Hippo's true strength is revealed. Where others see a monster, Hippo's empathy allows him to see a scared creature. He has broken free from the Viking narrative of fear and hatred. His unique qualities, his gentleness, his curiosity, his compassion are not weaknesses, but the very tools needed to bridge the gap between two worlds. The fear of the unknown is what has kept Vikings and dragons locked in a cycle of violence for generations. Hippo proves that the only way to combat this prejudice is through a genuine effort to understand. He turns his perceived flaws into his greatest asset, single-handedly creating a new path forward and beginning to redefine his society's entire worldview. The conflict comes to a head when Stoick, in his fury, captures Chimulo and uses him to find the dragon's nest, leading the entire Viking fleet into a suicidal battle against the Red Death. But as the Vikings are being decimated, Hippo arrives with the other young riders on the dragons they've secretly trained. Seeing his son's bravery and ingenuity in action, Stoick finally understands. He apologizes to Hippo, admitting he was wrong. In this pivotal moment, father and son are finally reconciled, not through conformity, but through mutual respect. Stoick frees Chimulo, and together, Hippo and his dragon take on the Red Death. Chimulo becomes a symbol of this new bond, representing the acceptance and understanding that now connects Hippo and his father. Their victory isn't just over a giant monster, but over generations of fear and rigid beliefs. In the final battle, both Hippo and Chimulo are injured. Hippo loses his left leg, and Chimulo's prosthetic tail fin is destroyed. The aftermath shows a quiet, powerful scene where Hippo wakes up in his home. Chimulo is there by his bedside. As Hippo struggles to walk on his new prosthetic leg, Chimulo is right there, nudging him for support, just as Hippo has always supported him. They are now permanently connected by their shared vulnerabilities, each one incomplete without the other. Their bond, forged in secret and tested in battle, is now deeper than ever. This beautiful conclusion shows us that our challenges and our so-called imperfections don't have to define us in a negative way. In fact, they can be the very things that create our strongest connections and lead us to our most meaningful relationships. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this look into the world of Hippo and Chimulo, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. See you next time.